that you know who are employed and get together for a virtual coffee break. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that you can do. So, what is freelance life really like? People ask me that a lot. And it's honestly a better question than what people used to ask me, which is, oh, so are you looking for a real job? No, this is a real job. I work from home. So it's an experience being a freelancer, working from home full time. And I don't even tell anyone I'm a freelancer anymore, because that's when oh, so you don't have a job. That's not something, I don't like dealing with that question. So I just tell people I'm a professional writer, and I leave it at that unless they ask questions. But freelancing, working from home, it's definitely an experience. It's not for everyone. When I decided this was something I wanted to do, I had several things that were happening like all at once. As I said earlier, I was working 2 jobs. I was teaching law to paralegal students, and I worked in a law office. So I had to build my business on the side. It was a little bit like having 3 jobs. Lots of early mornings, lots of late nights, lots of weekends, right? And I did not want our youngest to have to go to daycare. He's nonverbal. He has autism. That to me just seems like a disaster. I have really strong opinions about daycare. So for me, it's just not an option. My adult children never went to daycare either. And that's how you feel about daycare or don't feel about it. It's not something I'm willing to argue with anyone about. I was also dealing with a couple of heart issues, AFib and SVT, that were exacerbated by stress. And I love teaching. Teaching itself wasn't really stressful, but I had a protective order against an abusive ex-husband who wasn't supposed to know where I worked, somehow found out, and was doing his best to harass me there. And so it created a lot of undue stress for me, which caused, issues with my heart, which, by the way, yesterday I went to cardiology, and the regimen I am on, which is specific supplements, nothing crazy, and lots of water, as well as changing the way that I eat and getting exercise and everything. I was actually released from cardiac care yesterday, and it is freaking fantastic because I've been in cardiac care for the last 5 years, the whole time I've been remarried. So it's fantastic. But anyway, I had all that stress, and I also have complex PTSD from what I went through in a former marriage, and so all of it together was just so much, and it was so heavy, and it was so hard that I knew I had to have a better solution. And it took about a year of working both of those jobs plus the freelancing to get to where my husband and I realized that, I was turning down freelance opportunities left and right for writing, and I was actually losing money by doing that. I'm not going to lie to you. It was really, really hard to maintain those jobs, plus build my freelancing business, plus the kids, plus being married, plus. I mean, it's a lot for anyone. It's hard. It's very, very hard. But now I work full-time plus, as I call it, from home. It is still not a good situation. It's not always easy. I can start my day whenever I want. I have hours I prefer to work. And if you can hear my dogs in the background, that's because they are barking. Someone rang the doorbell. I can start my day whenever I want. I have hours I prefer to work, but often I can't because of various responsibilities like taking care of my family. They come first. I feel bad for extroverts who do what I do, like I said earlier, because I am crazy introverted. I don't really get lonely, but I know people who do. They get lonely, they start feeling depressed. That's not something I have to deal with since, I just prefer working alone anyway. As far as a day in my life, I get up early, go to the gym. Sometimes I don't want to get up. I do it anyway. The days that I don't go to the gym, I will just do yoga at home. I come home, I drink my coffee, I do a couple of chores around the house. My husband, he's the one that takes the little one to school. I pick the little one up. I will meditate. I spend about 15 minutes planning my day, but I think about my end result in mind. That's, 15 minutes, it's 1% of your day to help you control the other 99%. At the same time, I try to stay flexible because shit happens and I want to roll with those punches. So I may work in the morning, I may work in the afternoon, I may work in the evening. Sometimes I may not get to start my workday till 5 o'clock, and it's not just because I'm screwing around. It works for us. It can be stressful, at least for me, but ultimately, I can take care of our youngest kid and I still bring in an income. I stay busy. I was highly devoted to my now adult sons. I have two of them. One is 18, one is 20. My 18-year-old leaves in the summer of 2019 for basic training. So it was hard. When they grew up, they don't need mom as much, and I found myself with a lot of free time on my hands. And it's not again, I have one still. I didn't want to put in daycare, so working outside the home really wasn't an option, and I don't really like working on teams. I can, I just prefer not to. So I am more devoted now to my career, especially since I can do it from home on my own terms. As far as income, we do fine. We're not rich. I could bring in more income if I could work a more predictable schedule, but I do put my family first. I am the main income. My husband does work. I work between 20 and 50 hours a week, so ultimately I would say if you're exploring freelancing, don't get too bogged down in idealizing what it's going to be like and think about all these great benefits. It's great. I could finish this podcast and go take a hot bath if I want to. I could go take a walk, except it's really cold outside. There's a lot of things I could do. Don't quit your job, though, unless you have a savings account or unless you have enough clients to replace your income and pay your taxes. Sometimes, like I said, I work 7 days a week. That, for me, can go on for weeks or months. It's crazy because usually this time of year my business starts to slow down, and this year, and I'm glad for this, it's not really shown that it's going to slow down. So the other thing when you're freelancing, you're going to get some projects. Even if you have experience, you're probably going to end up with some projects that you really don't want to work on, but they're really important to maybe long-term clients that you want to continue working with. So you have to deal with that. You're going to have to do those, and in the beginning especially, you're going to end up with more of those because you want to get the experience and you want to make sure that you're making money. So that's kind of what it's like to be a freelancer. It's more of an experience. It's really a way of life, and a lot of people they don't fully understand both sides of the coin. That's actually something I was talking about the other day with someone else. So that's kind of what it's like. So the other thing that I would say about starting a freelancing or working from home in general, especially if you're a parent, you go online, you look around, and you see all of these articles that they're meant to motivate you. They mean well. It tells you to find your why. The reason why you want to succeed, why you need to succeed, why you need to make this business work, and that's great to some degree. Screw your why, because if you're working from home or you want to work from home and you have a family, you already know your why. Chances are, even if you don't have kids, you already know why you want to work from home. So you want to bring home an income, but you want to do it on your own terms. And I get that. I get it if you have a family. I'm a mom. It's what I do. I get it if you don't have a family. You just want to kind of do things on your own terms, and you realize that life should not just be about going to a job site and getting paid to literally just sit there and stare at a screen. I mean, you're still working, but it is so monotonous. So I get it. I understand. But that is your why. You know what you want to do. And a lot of the times the why is also you want to make a bigger impact. You want to have more control over your schedule. You want to make more money. You have all of these desires and dreams, and it's really hard to do in a traditional job for some people. But again, freelancing, not for everybody. And it's okay. If you get out there and you start doing it and you find out you don't like it, it's totally fine. You can go back and do whatever you want. You do not have to be a freelancer forever. You do not have to keep working from home. So that's that. And then the other thing that I really wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk to you guys and tell you the truth about why so many people, especially women, fail when they start a business. And it doesn't matter if it's a side hustle or a full-time business. I know why so many people, especially women, fail when they do this. Um, I own a business. I work from home. I'm 40. I started this as a side hustle. I had 2 other jobs at the time. I have a child still in the home. I had 2 other children as well, so I get it. So let's talk about the main 2 reasons why people fail. And that is discouragement and self-loathing. Yeah, I know. You guys probably thought this was going to be some kind of lecture on not setting goals properly or not knowing how to find clients, and all of that plays into it as well, but a lot of that falls under discouragement. So I'm just going to get straight to the heart of the matter. People fail at this, especially women, because we start to feel discouraged, and especially behind closed doors, because I know what it's like. You get on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, insert social media antics here, YouTube, whatever, and a lot of these people you see online who say they're running a successful business look so polished. They look so perfect. They have the right colors, the right lighting, the right this, the right that. I've seen a few more on Instagram. Here I am postpartum glory photos, and that's good too, because people need to see some realism. But it is really easy to see all of this perfection out there and see these people who make it look freaking easy and feel like you're obviously doing something wrong because your life isn't as perfect as what theirs looks. And I don't mean that we're self-loathing creatures all the time, because we're not. I know there are some people who feel that way all the time. I used to feel that way all the time. So, we get out there and we start this business and we're excited. We know it's going to work. It's going to bring in more money. It's going to give us more time to do whatever it is we want to go do. If you're a parent, maybe you're going to stay home with your kids. Keep inserting whatever reason you want to work from home here, right? You know what I mean. It is very, very, very rare, as I said a little while ago, that people tend to look at both sides of the coin. And if we do look at it, a lot of people think that they're going to be part of that really small statistic that's never going to have that problem. The biggest problem, no clients, no sales. And no matter what you do, you're involved in sales. It could be a product, could be a service, it could be you. Because people buy from people they like or to whom they relate. You're going to have extra stress, you're going to be tired, the kids get sick. Like, when you start a business, I don't know what it is. I've heard the story from everyone. It even happened to me. So I've heard this from everybody I've ever talked to who, whether they succeeded or not, had a business. Shit will take a major turn for the worse every single time at some point in the beginning of the business, and you're just like, oh my god. And that stress is real. And it doesn't matter if it's a combination of small things or 1 or 2 big things. That stress is legitimate. It causes discouragement and it causes self-loathing. We set these big goals, and like I said earlier, there's nothing inherently wrong with setting giant goals. I encourage goal setting in general. But then we get upset when we find out the hard way that we are not part of that little minuscule statistic that can hit every fucking giant goal and feel great and be positive and work what often feels like 24/7 when you're home. Because when you work from home, it is hard as fuck to separate out your work life from your home life. Especially since any new business takes a lot of work. It's a little bit like having a newborn kid. You're going to spend like the first 2.5 years totally absorbed. So some women quit. Some people quit. Sometimes quitting is the right decision. Maybe you learned you don't really want to do whatever it was you're doing. But maybe you figured out there's something else you would rather do. Except now you're discouraged because your first side hustle didn't work out. Obviously, you feel like you're not meant to run a business. Sometimes, though, people have this habit of quitting too soon, and starting a business is just plain hard work. People tell you no. And especially if you get into network marketing, oh, this sells itself. Everyone's going to love this. This is all the rage. Guess what? People say no. They don't have the money. They don't have the time. They don't take certain supplements. They don't want to put this in their body. They don't insert reason here, okay? When you get told no, a lot of times, especially if you're a woman, you take that shit personally. And It hurts. It hurts people. They don't understand what's happening. And it's really hard for a lot of people to separate out the no from who they are. They feel like they personally are being rejected, when in reality, someone just isn't interested in whatever it is that they're peddling. So it gets to the point because they're like, well, I don't know what else to do, and life sucks, so screw this shit. I quit. I know, I've been there. I actually still get there about every 4 months, and I sit in that nonsense for about 6 hours, and then I move on with my business and my life after I go take a hot bath. So, discouragement, self-loathing. That is the reason why people quit. So, we know what the problem is. The question is there a solution? So, I've been there, and so I got to thinking the other day, how can I help people who have been in that boat? It's both easier and harder to do the solution than you think it is, and the concept itself is ridiculously simple, because I'm going to tell you what it is, and you're just going to fucking roll your eyes. You're going, yeah, I know that, Robin, but it's not that easy. Trust me, I know. I know it's not easy, but that's where, the rest of it comes in, with some self-discipline and getting to work and, working through it. So, I can't force you to do anything. It takes work. It's your work. I can't do it for you. I can only tell you what to do to change it. Okay? Knowledge, which I'm giving you, it's nothing unless you go out there and take some action. And action is the game changer. Period. Point. Dot. End of sentence. End of paragraph. End of story. In my experience, most people don't want to take action on anything, including changing how they're doing something, how they feel, how they think. They don't want to change because they're more afraid of the future, and even possibly the fact that they might succeed, than afraid of staying in the same rut that they've come to know so well, because they know how to survive where they're at. That's it. You know how to survive where you're at. You're comfortable there, and that's it. You don't want to do anything else. Anything else is too hard. Think about this, though. If your best friend, your mom, your aunt, your daughter, your sister, your niece, insert your favorite relationship here, came to you and they felt discouraged and like they were a total fucking failure. They were going through exactly what you're dealing with, but they came to you and said that. What would you say to them? How would you help them? What would you do to help them feel better? Would you tell them to quit? Would you agree with them that they're lousy and not meant to be in a better place in life? Well, I hope not, or, that would be kind of shitty of you. Well, what I want you to do is treat yourself in the same way that you would treat that beloved person from our little exercise. Take a few minutes or a couple of hours and feel like shit if you want to. Although my dog Crom, you heard him in the background, he disagrees with that. I do it every now and then. I get stuck in that spot. I think everybody does. A lot of people may not own up to it, but we all get there. Okay? Then treat yourself well. Would you take that person out to lunch? If your best friend, mother, sister, whoever came to you with this issue, what would you do to make them feel better? Maybe you take them out to lunch to get them off, get their mind off the problem. Would you tell them why you think they're amazing? Would you offer to help them maybe come up with some new ideas? Would you maybe talk to them about, bad days don't last forever? And I know that's cliche, but sometimes we all need that talk, right? It's like the image that floats around that says, was it really a bad day, or are you just like milking those 5 bad minutes for the entire day? I'm guilty of that, even this morning. I'm over it now, but, hey. So in short, you have to learn how to be your best self. Be the person that you need in that moment. Go run yourself a hot bath. Get in there. Enjoy it. Go out to lunch. Go outside. Do something you like. Get into a grateful place in your head. Make a list of all the great things you have, and even the things that are great about you. You're obviously an optimist. You want to start a business. If that's hard for you to get into that place where you can talk about yourself and, admit to yourself what things are good about you, you need to do it every day. I'm not saying you go out there and make other people feel like shit because I'm so great, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm saying at all. You don't even have to tell other people you're doing this. You just need to get to where you can start to recognize the things about you that are great. You have to learn how to like yourself. This isn't about arrogance. Again, it's not about making people feel less so that you can feel like you're more. It's about learning to appreciate what you can do and the learning process involved in those bad moments. So, if you want to get away from self-loathing and disappointment, you have to stop being a dick to yourself. You've got this and you know that you can do it. Okay, so that's sort of your little pep talk today. Finally, what I wanted to discuss is a little buzzword that drives me crazy. Like I said, some buzzwords drive me crazy. If you like buzzwords, more power to you. I'm cool with it. You do you. I just think sometimes they get out of hand. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about biohacking. And I'm sure you've seen stuff online, articles, videos, whatever. Biohack your life for a better experience. Be faster, be better, be happier, be more productive, etc., etc., etc. I mean, sure, the word sounds cool. And like I said, if using a word like that gets you excited, do it. Please. I'm all for whatever helps you out as an individual. But I want to take this word apart so that we can talk about it. Biohack or biohacking. The root of the word is bio, life. We all know what hacking is in the sense of life. You've probably been to the website Life Hacker. Maybe you watch True TV, you've seen the show Hack My Life. Even if you haven't read or watched those, I'm sure at some point you have found a shortcut for that makes your life easier. So, in short, biohacking means doing what works for you. Period. Now, some of the articles that I have read on biohacking, they list some crazy shit. At least it's shit that I would find crazy. And for other people, it might work well. Because what this stuff does is it kind of it's different from your routine that you're caught up in now, and so it makes you feel better. And that's kind of the point, though, that I want to make with this. Don't get overwhelmed by a buzzword, especially if, you look into something like biohacking, and what you end up seeing is shit like getting up at 5 a.m., running 12 miles, drinking black unsweetened coffee with grass-fed butter and coconut oil. And, I get up most days and I drink the butter coffee. But, ultimately, if shit like that doesn't interest you or it makes you dread it, don't do it. Although, if you're struggling with time management, you need to quit hitting the snooze. You need to get up earlier. You gotta cultivate some self-discipline. I mean, there's no easy way around that. Try out productivity methods, morning routines, afternoon routines, aromatherapy, yoga, meditation, hot baths. Go hang yourself upside down from a tree by your toes if that's what helps you. I don't really care. All of that is, in some sense of the word, biohacking, because it makes you look forward to your day, what you can do in life, and ultimately that's what makes you feel better. So, out of the blue, the other day, I was asked about what I do in the mornings to prepare myself, and it's, I have PTSD, I have a history of AFibs, working from home can be repetitive and monotonous. My dog would like all of you to know that he exists. I enjoy working from home most of the time, but there are times when I don't. Again, it can be super hard to separate yourself out, where you live from where you work. So my biohacking, my routine, first I get up and I do the hour of power, as Tony Robbins calls it. I get up, I take my supplements, I drink some water, feed the dogs, and I get in a workout. Right now, that involves going to the gym. Some days it's just yoga. I meditate. I answer the morning power questions. After that, I make that bulletproof coffee, or I just call it butter coffee. You can make it yourself. You don't have to buy it. I buy a ghee and coconut oil blend from Sprouts, and I put that into my coffee, except, today my blender died a terrible death. But before you do this, if it's something that interests you, and trust me, it tastes better than it sounds, do some research. Some people get an upset tummy if they use too much coconut oil or even the brain octane stuff put out by the Bulletproof Company. So do your research. Don't make yourself sick. If you don't like coffee, don't bother doing this. I love coffee, and I like black coffee. I like coffee without sugar, so for me, it's a good thing. I also drink my greens. I drink greens 2 or 3 times a day. For me, good nutrition is an important component. I have found that I feel better. I have less AFib issues. It's just easier for me to deal with stress. It's easier all the way around. So then I get dressed. Even, because chances are I'm still in my workout clothes, I get dressed. You feel better if you get dressed. It's science. Like, you can look it up. You will feel better and be more productive if you get dressed. So, while I'm either drinking the coffee or my greens, I plan my day. Someone is not happy about being ignored. I have a Panda planner that I use. I have the little quarterly one, so the 3-month one. It fits into my bag. That's why I use that one. Out of all the planners I've used so far, that's the one I like. I also have 3 notebooks. I've used OneNote. I have project management software I rely on during my workday. I think about my end goal. What do I want to get out of the day? I take 1% of my day, that 15 minutes, to plan out the other 99%. My plans are also based off of my monthly goals that I set every month. In fact, I'm going to do it today, this afternoon, with a group of ladies. I write down in advance all appointments and other things that I have to take care of. Like, there's no room for negotiation. Everything else gets worked around it. I also think about Brendon Burchard's 4 questions that help high performers continue to perform at a high level. So the other thing I do comes from sort of deep work concept. I work when I'm most productive, but I set that time aside specifically for work. And some days are better than others. Generally, I'm more focused in the morning and early afternoon, but there are times if I have a lot of appointments or errands, I just rest during the day or do something fun, and then I work later that afternoon or evening once everyone is home and settled in. I drink a metric fuck ton of water during the day. You may have noticed a few pauses. It's because I'm getting a drink. Like that. So I learned something not too long ago, right before I was, released from cardiac care, but it's also when I started really super upping my water intake. I was already drinking quite a bit, but it turns out that AFib can cause your body to use more water. So it's gotten to the point, for me to feel my very best, I have to drink close to 100 ounces, yes, 100 ounces of water every day. And no, I don't force it. Since I have learned it helps me feel better, it's easier for me to drink it. And like I said, I also have some supplements. It's nothing crazy. It's magnesium, potassium, taurine, CoQ10, once a day for the CoQ10, and L-arginine, however they pronounce it. I take those 3 times a day for AFib support. The other thing, when I get stressed, I'm learning to take a break. And my favorite break in the whole wide world is just to go, run a hot bubble bath in the middle of the fucking day. Sometimes, that just resets my entire day, my entire mood. It's great. Most of the year, it's pretty nice in Oklahoma. We do get cold sometimes. We get some snow every once in a while. We get a lot of ice in the winter. But when I can, the other thing I like to do is I'll just go outside in the backyard. I have several sitting areas arranged. There are 2 that have tables, so I can actually sit outside and work if I wanted to. I also have, a couple of deck chairs. I'll just go outside and sit for a little bit. Just hang out with the dogs. Just recharge. Sometimes I'll work on my loom. I have a 6-foot tall loom. And I also have a couple of smaller ones that are about rug size. One is a real pain in the ass, and the how-to video from the manufacturer is not worth the time that it took to create it. So, but you have to learn to take a break. And the other thing that Brendon Burchard teaches is, between every project, shut your eyes for 1 to 3 minutes, take a little break, try to release the tension that you might have built up during your last project, and think about what you want to accomplish while you work on the next thing. So, Those are some of the things that work for me. Hopefully they help you. Been on here for almost an hour now. My throat hurts. I think I am done for the day. If you have questions, comments, concerns, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. All of them, same name, The Robin Bull. And look forward to, hearing from all of you in the near future once I am ready to test drive the ability to take calls.